Greetings, Israel. Greetings, brothers and sisters. Greetings, my beloved. My name is Trevor Israel, and I'm coming to you from the Gospel of Jesus Ministries. And what I want to talk to you today is about the Africans. The Africans and us, the Negroes. The title of the lesson is, or the topic, the title of the topic is, why do we continue to call ourselves Africans? We as black people or people of color, we have the misconception that everything black is African. And brothers and sisters, that is so far from the truth, the real truth. Where this thing came from, actually, is the other nations who conspire against God's chosen people, the Israelites, the Jews, the real Jews of the Bible. Our identity was stolen by our brother Esau in 70 AD, when we, the Negroes, the Israelites, or the real Jews, not the Ethiopians, not the Africans, when we went into slavery by the Romans, Esau went into our land and stole our identity. If someone steals the identity of someone, you have to basically kind of get rid of that person, because now he's going to have two people running around calling themselves the same thing or the same person. So one have to go. So what these nations did, what Esau demised, is he went into our land in 70 AD when we went into captivity, into slavery, and he assumed our identity, thus giving us the name African. So now we become African by name, and they became the Jews by name, when in reality, we are the Jews. These people stole the identity of a whole nation of people. That is the greatest form of identity theft. These people stole the identity of a whole nation of people, not one person, a whole nation of people. On this side of the flood, Noah's three sons started the population of the earth: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the Bible, the scriptures, tell you out of Japheth, that's where the white people came from. The white people, or Caucasian or European, they are Gentiles. The white people, who are referred to as Caucasian or Europeans, they came out of the lineage of Japheth. Out of Shem, that's where we came from. We are referred to as Shemites. We came out of the lineage of Shem. Hold on. We came out of the lineage of Shem. That's where Abraham came from. The descendants: Isaac, Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel, the Messiah, Jesus. That's where they came from. We came out of the lineage of Shem. And out of Ham, Noah's son, That's where the Cushites came from, who are referred to as Ethiopians, the dark race. Mizraim, who is Kemet, that's the Egyptians. Put, who is the Libyans or the Somalians, and Canaan, who was the original inhabitants of Jerusalem. They came out of Ham, Noah's son. Those are the Africans. We did not come out of Ham. We are not the Africans. We are a different nation of people. Even though we are the same color, we are not the same people. This world is 2/3 people of color. This world is 2/3 people of color. The descendants that came out of Ham and the descendants that came out of Shem. The ones that came out of Japheth, remember, they are Europeans, they are white people. They are Gentiles or Caucasian. All right? We are not Africans. Joseph was mistaken for an Egyptian. Why? Because he looks like the Egyptian. He was black in color. Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian. Why? Because Moses was the same color as the Egyptians. He was black in color. Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian. Why? Because he is the same color as the Egyptians. When Jesus was born, the Messiah, Herod was the king of those days. And Herod, he heard about this king that was supposed to be born, the king of the Jews. And Herod sent his guards to go and bring the king, which is the Messiah, to him, Jesus. Because he said he wanted to worship him. But actually, in reality, he wanted to kill him because Herod was a terror. King Herod was, what do you call it, a terrorist. If Herod think that you want his throne, you are dead. Herod killed his own son. He killed his own wife. Anybody that Herod thinks that wants his throne, they don't even have to say it. They just have to think it. They are dead. That's how crazy Herod was. So when Herod heard that this king of the Jews were to be born, which is Jesus, the Messiah, Herod sent his men to go and fetch Jesus. And the angel came to Joseph. The angel came to Joseph and told Joseph, take the boy down into Egypt, which is Jesus, because Herod seek his life. Now tell me, brothers and sisters, if Jesus was white, look at here, look at this picture. If Jesus was white, Jesus would have been able to hide in Egypt amongst these people? Would he have been able to hide in Egypt amongst these people? No, he would have stuck out like a sore thumb. Look at this here. Can this happen in Egypt? No. Because the Egyptians, they are Africans. They are black people. We came up with these notions that we are Africans. Why? Because these people, they've drilled in our heads that we came from Africa and slave ship. Brothers and sisters, Africa is a big continent with over 50-something countries on that continent. Where did you come from in Africa? If you ask an African person where they are from, that African person can tell you exactly where they're from. They can tell you their tribe and what country on that continent they're from. Why can an African tell you that? Because the African people never went into slavery. Thus, they never lost their heritage. That's why they know where they're from. They know their tribe where they're from. They know the island, the country on that continent where they're from. But when you ask a Negro where you're from, they're going to tell you, well, I'm from Jamaica. I'm from Antigua. I'm from the Virgin Islands. I'm from St. Kitts, St. Lucia, Trinidad. The reason why they're telling you these is because we were the one in and out of slavery. That's why we don't know our heritage. But the reason why the African people know where they're from and can able to tell you where they're from, because they never went into slavery. They never came over here in the bellies of them ships. If the Africans were the one that went into slavery, remember, these white men, they went over there and dispersed these Negro people into the four corners of the earth. When they went into Jerusalem, they emptied out Jerusalem. There was no African, no Israelites left in Jerusalem because they all went into captivity. So now, if it was Africans that went into captivity, why is Africa full of Africans? Africa would not have any Africans because remember, they went into slavery. So why are all these African people in Africa? That's because, brothers and sisters, they never went into slavery. They never went into captivity. We are not Africans. They went into Jerusalem or Israel, present-day Israel, and took the Israelites out of Jerusalem. And we are the Israelites are the one that came over here on slave ships. We are the one when before Jesus came, there were Jacob 12 sons. Before Jesus came in the flesh, 10 of the tribes was taken out by the Assyrians and went up into Africa, Europe, Asia, and those places, the Eastern Hemisphere. When Jesus was coming, the Messiah was coming in the flesh. One of those tribes came back, which was Levi, the tribe of Levi, which is the priest tribe, which was the priest tribe, Levi. So when Jesus came in the flesh, there were 3 tribes here: Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. So the other 9 tribes that was gone into captivity by the Assyrians, they are referred to as the lost tribes of Israel. They are referred to as the lost tribes of Israel because it was cut off from the other brothers, which is Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. And they never got a chance to see the Messiah, got to see Jesus. Because when Jesus came, they had already gone into captivity. So when Jesus came, the only tribe that saw Jesus was the Benjamite, the Levites, and the Judaites. And Judah is the tribe that Jesus actually came out of. Jesus came out of the tribe of Judah. That's why he's referred to as the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Haile Selassie is not the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Haile Selassie is an Ethiopian. And we are not Ethiopians. We are Israelites. We did not come from Ethiopia. We came from Jerusalem. So then they say Selassie is the descendants of King Solomon. Selassie is not the descendants of King Solomon. That is a myth. When the Queen of Sheba came to visit Solomon, she did not come to have an affair with Solomon. She heard of the fame of this man, the wisest man, one of the richest men, and she came to see this man that they said was the wisest man. She came to ask Solomon's questions. She came to ask him about his knowledge that he got, because remember, he was the wisest man that ever lived. So when she came, she asked him his question. Solomon told her all his question. all of his knowledge that he got from the Most High. And when she was finished, she turned and went back to her country. There's nowhere in the scriptures that say that the Queen of Sheba and Solomon had any affair. Because she did not come there to have an affair. She come there to meet this guy, this wise man, the king of the Jews, not Ethiopia. The king of the Jews, not Ethiopia, not the Canaanites. The king of the Jews in Jerusalem, not in Ethiopia, not in Libya, not in Somalia, but Israel, Jerusalem. We are not Africans. Okay. How did we acquire the land of Jerusalem? Remember, Ham, Noah's son, one of his sons was Canaan. And I say, Canaan was the original inhabitants of Jerusalem. That's why they used to call it the land of Canaan, because it was inhabited by Canaan and his descendants. Canaan and his seeds, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Jebusites, the Girgasites, the Hivites, they're the one that was inhabiting that land, Jerusalem. And the Most High took those 7 nations out of that land to give it to us. Who did he take out of that land? Africans. The Canaanites, they are Africans. The Most High chased those 7 nations and told the Israelites to destroy them out of that land, to give that land to us, our ancestors. Those are the ones that came over here in the transatlantic slave trade across the Mediterranean Sea in the Western Hemisphere. The African people never came over here in the bellies of ships. As a matter of fact, we were in slavery under the Africans. The Egyptians are Africans. Remember that. Because the Egyptian, which is Mizraim, Mizraim is the Egyptian. That's Ham's son. They are Africans. And remember, we were in Egypt for 400 years under slavery by the Egyptians, which are African people. We are not them. We are the same color, but we are not the same people. We're a different nation of people. Israel is one nation. The Africans, they got their nations. They got their nations. Israel is one nation. And we are not Africans. We are a different people. You ever watch the movie Roots? Roots is a series that used to come on every year when I was growing up for Black History Month. And there is a particular part in there where you see the black people was catching the other black people, rounding them up, and the European people was coming over on the ships, and they was collecting them, these black people from the other black people. That was the African people catching the Israelites and selling them to the Europeans. Because remember, how did the Israelites get up into Africa? Because remember, every time a nation come down on them in Jerusalem to take them in captivity or, kill them, most of them always escape and go up into Africa. That's how some of us get up into Africa. Because every time a nation come down on Jerusalem to destroy them, a lot of them always escape and run up into the west parts of Africa. So some of us, the Israelites, were living up in Africa. And then the Assyrians took out 9 of the tribes, as I told you, and take them up into Africa, Asia, and those places. That's how we got up into Africa. But we were the inhabitants of Jerusalem solely. We were solely the inhabitants of Jerusalem, which is present-day Israel. and we got scattered into the four corners of the earth by the means of slavery. Why did we get scattered by the means of slavery? Because the Most High caused these other nations to take us into slavery because of disobedience. Disobedience. This is a book. It's called the Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary. It's a good book to acquire. It tells you everything about, the Bible. It's like a history that lines up with the Bible, coincide with the Bible. And in here, under Ham, I'm going to read it. Under Ham, which is one of Noah's son, right? Which is the African nation. Under Ham, it says, Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. You hear that? He became the progenitor or the father of the dark races, but not the Negroes. Because why? Because we are the Negroes, the Israelites, the Shemites, those that came from Shem. Those are the Negroes. So again, it says Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor or father of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, black nation, the Ethiopians, black nations, the Libyans, black nation, and the Canaanites, black nation. The Cushites, Cush, his first son, is the Ethiopians, or the Cushite, referred to as the Cushites. Mizraim is the Egyptian, or they refer to as Kemet. Put is the Libyans, or the Somalians, and Canaan is the Canaanites. Canaan was the original inhabitants of the land of Israel. And remember, he and his children, which is the Amorites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, the Hivites, God chased those 7 nations out of that land to give that land to us, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Ham is not the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Israelites are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not the Africans. We are not Africans. Obama is an African. He's a Hamite. That's why he did nothing for us, because he is not us. He's not us. He's a Hamite. He's an African. We are not them. An African person can come to this country. An African can come to this country. He has no job, no history, and he can go to a bank and get a loan to open a small business. You, the Israelites, or the Jews of the Bible, you can't get a penny to borrow from the bank if you don't have some serious collateral. You can't get a penny to open nothing, no business, no nothing. Why? We are the one that is going through all this atrocities that is going on this earth. We are the one most likely to get killed by the police. We are the one that inhabits the prison system. We make up the population of the prison system. We are on every street corners, like bulls in the net, like the Bible referred to. Anywhere you go in the world, we make up the population of the slums. Why? Because we are the one that was always in and out of captivity. We came out of physical slavery, Now we're in spiritual slavery, spiritual bondage. We came out of physical bondage and now we are in spiritual bondage. Because why? All these captivity that we went through, we lost our heritage, we lost our God, we lost our self, we lost our self-purpose. That's why we don't know who we are, what our purpose is because we are the one been going in and out of slaveries by all of these nations in the world. Every nation of people in this world had their foot in our neck. Every nation. And it all stems from disobedience to our God. That's where it all came from. Disobedience. Moses, one of our forefathers, he sent to deliver us from Egypt. The Most High, remember, he gave us the land of Israel for our inheritance. He took it away from the Africans and gave it to us. We went into the wilderness and God weeded us out into the wilderness, killed all of the adults except for Joshua and Caleb, the only two adults. The Bible tells you over 600,000 footmen, just men. He's not counting the women, he's not counting the children. 600,000 men on foot came out of Egypt. So if you count the women and count the children, that's over 2 million people probably that came out of Egypt and went into the wilderness. And God killed every last one of them in the wilderness. All of the adults, men and women, except for Joshua and Caleb, and the children them 19 and below. The children them 19 and below, they are the ones that got into the promised land. But what did God tell them before they go into the promised land? He said, you see what I did to your fathers, how that I brought them on eagle's wings out of Egypt and bade them under my wings, and they all fell in this wilderness. How I killed them. So you take it to be an example. Do not go into Israel, my land that I'm giving you, and do the same thing that your fathers was doing. When Moses had read them the law in the wilderness, you know what they say? All that the Lord say, we will do. But what did we do? What did our forefathers do? We went into the land, Israel, our land, which is Jerusalem, and start doing the same thing that our forefathers was doing to get killed. We went into the land and start sinning against our God, worshiping pagan gods, breaking God's commandments. So what did he do? He caused the Babylonian to come and enslave us. We've been under the Babylonian captivity for some time. He delivered us from the Babylonians. We went back into Israel, our land. What did we do? We went back into there, disobeying God again. So what he did? He sent the Medes and the Persians to enslave us again, take us into captivity. We were in the Medes and Persian captivity for some time. He delivered us from them. We went back into our land. When we went back into our land, Israel or Jerusalem, you know what we did? We went back into there doing the same thing again, disobeying our God, worshiping wood and stone, following these other nations. So what did God do? He caused the Greeks to come and enslave us again. Do you all see where I'm going, brothers and sisters? We've been in and out of slavery for most of our existence. We went back into the land after the Grecian captivity. Guess what we did? We went back in there, we was doing the same thing that we was doing from the beginning, disobeying our God. So when Jesus came, The remnants that was there, which is the Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. Because remember, the other 9 tribes, Gad, Asher, Dan, Naphtali, they already went into slavery by the Assyrians. So when Jesus was there with the 3 tribes, they wanted to show him the building of the temple. And Jesus was upside down. The Bible said Jesus wept. You know why Jesus wept? Jesus tell them, you see that temple? There will be not one stone left upon another. That will not be thrown down. And Jesus teared up. You know why he teared up? Because he knew what was going to happen to us, our ancestors. He knew it. He knew what was going to happen to us. He knew what was going to happen to us by the Romans. And in 70 AD, that came to pass. The Romans came into Jerusalem and tore Jerusalem down to the ground. And they took the temple apart, brick by brick. That's why Jesus tells you there will not be one stone left upon another. They took the temple apart brick by brick. You know why they do that? They did that too? Because remember, that temple was built with gold. It was lined with gold and you know, silver and gold. And what they was doing, they said the fire, the flame was so intense that the gold was melting and running between the cracks of the rock. The gold was melting between the cracks of the rock. They said the fire was so intense. They took that temple down brick by brick. So you see that wailing wall that they have over there? That is not part of the temple. Where these so-called people is doing the ritual against the wall. They look like they're having sex with the wall because that's what they're doing. That is actually what they're doing, because all these other nations that worship these other gods, it's a sexual thing. If you do your research, you're going to see all these other nations who worship in all these other gods, it's mostly a sexual thing. So even the Muslim, they go to the Kaaba, and the whole of the Kaaba, it shapes like a vagina. The whole of the Kaaba that they go to worship in Mecca, it shapes just like the vagina of a woman. Nimrod, Semiramis, they're talking about the male and feminine, and the male and feminine, the masculine and feminine. So the Romans came into Jerusalem, tore Jerusalem down to the ground, and they took the inhabitants of Jerusalem. A lot of us, not a lot, some of us escaped and went up into the west parts of Africa, into the west banks of Africa. That's why you see some of us, a lot of us is in the west banks of Africa, the west part. And we still keeping our tradition, so you know who is actually Israel. Because remember, they went with their heritage. The ones them, a whole bunch of us got killed, and a whole bunch of us was taken in captivity. And that's how, brothers, we got over here to the Western Hemisphere. That's how we got over here to the Western Hemisphere. We did not come from Ethiopia. We came from Jerusalem. We did not come from Ethiopia because we are not Africans. We came out of Jerusalem. That's where we were taken from, our land, Jerusalem, and came over here by the means of slavery in the bellies of them ships. The African people did not come over here in the bellies of them ships. The Israelites did. So now they tried, when we got captured in 70 AD, Esau, our brother that claimed that we stole his identity, he moved into Jerusalem and assumed our identity. Thus the whole world is calling him the Jews, calling them the Jews. And now they give us the name Africans. Because remember, if they stole our identity, You have to do something with the real people. So what they do, they hide us. We are referred to as the hidden ones. That's why in the book of Psalms, David was telling God, Psalms 83, David was praying to God and asking God to help us, because the other nation conspire against the hidden ones. Who are the hidden ones? Us. Why we are hidden? Because we don't know who we are. Every nation of people in this world has a heritage and know the heritage except us. Every nation of people in this world knows the heritage and know where they're from, except us. Why is that? Because, brothers and sisters, because we were the one in and out of slavery. We are the Israelites that the Bible speaks about. The African people, they know the heritage. They know what tribe they're from. They can give you the roots. Why? Because they did not go into slavery. That's why they never lost their heritage. That's why Africa is full of Africans, because they never went nowhere. Why is Jerusalem emptied from the Israelites? Because the Israelites are the people in the book. Bob Marley sang a song. You know that song came from the book of Psalms, Psalms 137. It says, by the rivers of Babylon, where we sat down, and there we wept when we remember Zion. And as they carry us away captive, they say, sing us a song that we sing in our land. And we say, how can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? Why is it a strange land? Because we are not in our home. Our home is Jerusalem. Our home is Israel. And God, the Most High, our God, promised to gather us from the four corners of the earth when He comes back. We are under the curse. Then you have a lot of people, a lot of us, when you ask them how they're doing, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. What makes you blessed and highly favored? You are not blessed and highly favored, my brothers and sisters, because we are under the curse. How can we be blessed and highly favored when we are under a curse? The Bible tells you, cursed is the man that hangeth on a tree. Who they were hanging on trees? Us, our people, the African people. They were not hanging in trees. As a matter of fact, some of us was hanging trees by the Africans, some of them Africans. They were not hanging in trees. We were the one that referred to as strange fruits. If you ever listen to the song from Billie Holiday sang a song, Strange Fruits. If y'all get a chance, brothers and sisters, y'all need to go and listen to that song. It's a song by Billie Holiday that's called Strange Fruits. It's about us, because we are the ones that were hanging in trees like strange fruits. Of course we are strange fruit. We don't grow out of trees. We don't grow on trees. So of course we are strange fruits hanging in the trees. Strange fruit hanging in the poplar trees. That song is about us, not the Africans. We are not Africans. We are the same color, but we are a different people. I have nothing against the Africans. I have nothing against the white man. I am merely here to tell you the truth. And the truth is, we are the chosen children of the Most High God. Then you have a lot of people, they say, oh, God did away with His people. No, He did not did away with His people. He did not, because the scriptures, I think it's in Romans, it says, did God cast away His people? The Bible says, God forbid. How can He cast away His people? He made a promise to our father, Abraham, that he will take care of us. But at the same time, we have to be chastised. It said a child who refuses chastisement is a bastard. He said, he that refuses chastisement is a bastard. So if God does not chastise us, we are bastards. So that's why we are getting chastised. The Bible tells you, we only, the Israelites, the Jews, only have been known of all the families of the earth. You know how many families he got in the earth? You know how many different nations? But he said, Israel only he knew out of all the families of the earth. Therefore, he will punish us for all our iniquities. It's just like if you have a child and your child is in a group of people and some mischief befall them. Who are you going to hold by the ear or hold by the neck? Your child. Because that's your child. Well, it's the same way. We are the apple of God's eyes, the Father's eye. We are the apple of his eyes. So that's why we get away with nothing. That's why we get away with nothing. That's why our children are getting killed by the police, shot down like dogs, armless, don't have no guns, and they're still killing us. Why is this, brothers and sisters? Everywhere you go in the world, we live in the slum. We are most likely to get killed by these bigoted policemen. These white racist bigot police. We are most likely to get killed by them. Why? It has nothing to do with the white man. It has everything to do with we, our people, disobeying our God. It has nothing to do, then they tell you, our brothers, some of our brothers who, I can't really blame them, you know why? It's because of this slave mentality that was put on us for all of these years, why we are the way that we are. But still, that is no excuse, because we have a mind of our own. Everyone has a mind of our own. And we have the ability to change. We have the ability to change. A lot of our brothers, they will look at this Bible and they will say, oh, that's the white man book. That's the white man book. The white men enslave us with this book. Brothers and sisters, listen to me, please. Listen to me closely. That is part of the conspiracy. And we have to realize that. Part of the conspiracy is we getting rid of our God. Because remember, the devil has his hand in this thing. The devil's hand is in this thing. From the creation, the devil had his hand in this thing. That's why he did what he did to our mother, Eve. That's why he did what he did to our mother, and our mother turned around and do it to our father, Adam. The devil don't want us to obey or to worship our God, the true God. He wants us to reverence him. The devil has a hand in this thing. That spirit that is behind of you, that is saying that this book is the white man book, is an evil spirit. That is not you. It's an evil spirit that is behind of you, telling you this book is the white man book. Brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you that this book, the Holy Bible, this is the history of a nation of people. This book is the history of a nation of people that is in this world today, up to this day. And that history is our history. You notice when you go to school, they teach you 500 years of captivity, or 400 years of captivity. 400 years. We've been a people for over 6,000 years. Why are you only teaching us 400 years of slavery? What happened to all the other years of our existence? What happened to all the other years of our existence that we were in existence? Why are you teaching that only 400 years? What happened to the years prior to that? What happened to the years prior to that? We've been a people for over 6,000 years. And you're only teaching us 400 years of our history? That's because, brothers and sisters, they don't want us to know who we really are. This book is our history. It has nothing to do with the white man. This book has nothing to do with the white man. If this book had anything to do with the white man, remember, let me give you an example. Every movie that you see on TV concerning the Bible, 95%, 98% of the movies that you see on TV that concerning the Bible, all of the characters on there is white. All of them. Moses, Jesus, Abraham, Paul, every one of them in those movies are white. Every picture you see with this picture that they call Jesus Christ, what color is he? He white. But guess what this book says? This book says that Jesus is black. This book says Job is black. This book says Jacob is black. Paul is black. Moses is black. Joseph is black. This book says that. So if this had anything to do with the white man, would that be in the book? Come on, brothers and sisters, wake up. Wake up. This book would have been whitewashed. Inside of this book, it would have said Jesus was white. It would have said Job is white. It would have said Moses is white. Paul is white. Joseph, Moses, Paul, Job, Jacob, Judah, it would have said all of them is white. It would not say that they're black. They cannot change the book because this book is the only thing that we have in order to get salvation. This book is the only book that we have that can show you our history. So they cannot change this book. The Most High will not let that happen. The book says they will think to change times and laws. They will think. He didn't say that they will do it. They will think. What they do, they take away the book and they give you their own doctrine. What they're teaching is what's not in the book. What they're teaching is not the same thing that is in the book. So the book is not the problem. It's the people who are bringing forth the message. That is the problem. The book is not the problem. The book is sound doctrine. This book is sound doctrine. There's nothing wrong with the book. The problem is the people who are bringing the message. That is the problem. They are the problem, not the book. How can somebody teach us our history? How can the white man or the Gentile or the European or the Caucasian, how can they teach you your history? This is our history, brothers and sisters. How can somebody teach you your own history? So we, the Israelites, we go to the school of theology, the white man's school. How can you go to the white man's school to learn about your history? What do you think the white man is going to teach you? He's going to teach you the same thing that they've been teaching us and indoctrinate us from the beginning. Lies. That's why when they come out of school of theology, they go into churches, our people, and they're still upside down. They're still upside down. You cannot go to the white man's school and think the white man is going to tell you the truth about us. They're not going to tell you the truth. They are going to lie to you. So what they teach you in the school of theology, and what the dickens is theology? Theology is man's belief, man's theory. It has nothing to do with God. Theology has to do with man. It has nothing to do with God. The Bible says our ways is not God's ways, and our thinking and our mind is not the mind that God has. That's why we cannot hold on to the commandments of man, or man theory. That's why we have to hold on to the commandments and the theory of God, not man. When you go to school, the school of theology, to learn about the Bible, the white man is not going to tell you the truth. Wake up, brothers and sisters. The white man is not going to tell you the truth, because they are in the conspiracy to keep us hidden. So why would they tell you the truth that your eyes can be open? Why would they do that? Come on, why would they do that? School of theology is the white man's school. That's the white man's bondage, the white man's slave house. And you go and sit down in the white man's slave house to learn about your history. What do you think they're going to tell you about you? You think they're going to tell you that they were the one that got their foot in your neck? You think they're going to tell you they're the one that was killing your ancestors? They're the one that hanging your ancestors up in trees? They're not going to tell you. You know what they're going to tell you? Oh, it doesn't matter. You're supposed to love everyone. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color Jesus is. If it don't matter what color Jesus is, why don't you put his picture the way that it is in the book? When you bring the movies and the TV, why don't you put the color of what the book says if it does not matter? Obviously, it does matter. Obviously, it does matter. Because if it did not matter, you would do exactly what the book says. If the book says Solomon black, when you make a movie, you're going to put him black. If the book says Jesus is black, when you make a movie, you're going to put him black. If the book said Moses and all of Paul, all of them is black, when you make a movie, what you going to do? If you want to teach us through the movies about the Bible, why are you still deceiving us through the movies? If you're trying to make a movie to teach us about the Bible, why are you still changing the stuff? Why you don't put exactly what the Bible says in order for people to learn about the Bible? Does that make sense? No, it does not make sense. If you're going to bring a movie to teach us about the Word and teach us about the Bible, you're going to do exactly what the book says. That is how we're going to learn. If you still got things upside down, right side up, how are we going to learn? You're still giving us false doctrine. That's why the book tells you all tables are full of vomit. You know what that means? Bad doctrine. Bad doctrine. All tables are full of vomit. That is bad doctrine. Everything that God give, the devil give his piece. God give you his Sabbath day, the devil give you his Sabbath day. God's Sabbath day is the 7th day, the devil's Sabbath day is the 1st day. People wake up and see what's going on. The devil wants to be God. That's why so much people is worshiping him. In ignorance. God got his Sabbath day. 7th day. Saturday is my Sabbath day. The devil come, no, no, no. The 1st day is the Sabbath day. Sunday. God tell you don't deal with Christmas. The devil has his children to tell you, oh, why are you going to do that to the children? That is you taking away the joy from the kids. The Bible tell you don't deal with Christmas because that has nothing to do with God. That has to do with the heathens, the devil. But the devil's children, those that are worshiping him, will tell you, don't worry, don't take away the joy from the kids. Why are you going to take the toys away from the kids? Why are you going to cut the... Then they have Easter. What does Easter have to do with the Most High? Easter has nothing to do with the Most High. Jesus did not raise or rose on the first day of the week. Jesus rose on the seventh day of the week. That's what the book says. It tells you on the first day of the week when Mary Magdalene and them come to the sepulchre, the body was already gone. So if it was already gone, how can he rose on the first day? The body was gone when they came there the first day. Matthew 28 tells you, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, when they came to the sepulchre, Mary Magdalene and the other Magdalene, the body of Christ was already gone. It was already risen. As it began to dawn towards the first day, it was not the first day yet when they came to the sepulchre. It will be dawning towards the first day. It was not the first day yet. If I leave here to go to my neighbor's house, I am walking to my neighbor's house. I'm not at my neighbor's house. I'm going towards. So the same thing, if it was going towards the first day, it was not the first day yet. And when they came to the sepulchre, guess what? The body was already gone. He rose on the eve of the Sabbath, the seventh day. Then the Bible tells you that he died in the midst of the week. But the whole world, the devil tells you that he died on Friday. That's where they got Good Friday from. Can you get 3 days and 3 nights from Friday to Sunday? It's impossible. Subtraction, addition, or division. You cannot get 3 days and 3 nights from Good Friday or Bad Friday to Easter Sunday morning. It's impossible. So who rose? Who died on Good Friday and rose on Easter Sunday? Is not the God of the Bible. That's the other God that they're talking about. It's not the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What happened when Jesus died on the cross? There was a great earthquake, and the veil in the temple ripped from top to bottom. What were they using the veil in the temple for? They was using the veil in the temple for animal sacrifice. That was the purpose of the veil in the temple. And to separate the holy from the most holy. They were sprinkling the blood on the veil in the temple. But remember, Jesus came to shed his blood. Thus, he was the ultimate sacrifice. So when Jesus died on the cross, the veil in the temple ripped from top to bottom. No more animal sacrifice. Because he was the sacrifice. Daniel 9 and 27 and the book of Daniel tells you, in the midst of the week, the sacrifice and the oblation cease. In the midst of the week, the sacrifice and oblation will cease. The midst of the week is Wednesday. Why did the sacrifice and oblation cease? Because that's when the veil in the temple ripped from top to bottom. That's when Jesus died. That's why the sacrifice and oblation ceased. Because that's when Jesus died. He died in the midst of the week. He died on Wednesday. And he rose on the eve of the Sabbath before the first day, which is Sunday morning. Simple. But the devil has his minions or his children misleading us. Misleading us. Brothers and sisters, we are not Africans. Again, I don't have nothing against the Africans. I don't have nothing against the white man. I don't have no time to hate nobody. I am seeking to get eternal life. I have no time to hate nobody. But these bigot white people and these bigot and racist police out there who is killing us, know and understand this, brothers. Spiritual brothers, so-called. God said, he who cursed Israel will be cursed, and he who blessed Israel will be blessed. So guess what? We are Israel. We are Israel. So you who are killing us the real Israel, you have an advocate with the Most High God. Because we are the Israelites, the real Israelite, the real Jews of the Bible. That's us. The Negroes. So you that is killing us, and you that hang us in trees, the church that you go to and reading the same Bible, this Bible that you're reading tell you that you are not going to get away for the atrocities that you've done against the Jews, which is us. You're not going to get away. Your children is going to pay for it. Because they're going to go into captivity the way that you put us in captivity. God didn't tell you to cut our necks off, cut off our hands, castrate us. He didn't tell you to hang us in trees. He just told you to be a ruler over us. Because we refused to listen to him, so he put you to rule over us. He did not tell you to hang us in trees like strange fruits. That's why the Bible tells you he is so displeased with the heathens. The heathens are you white bigots, and you white racists. You are the heathens. And anybody that don't deal with God, the Most High. He said he is so displeased with the heathen because they further the affliction. How did you further the affliction? He told you to rule over us, and you went and you was abusing us. So God is displeased with you. So guess what? You are going to have to answer to the Most High God for what you do to his children. Us, the Negroes. You're going to have to answer to the Father. And if you love your children, you will repent and quit doing this. You know why? Because your children is going to pay for it. Because they are now going to be in slavery, in bondage. And you think that you get away? No. You know why? Because our God, the Most High God, is going to wake you up from the grave, and guess where you're going to go? In the lake of fire. Because now you're going to have to stand before judgment. You're going to have to stand before judgment. And you're going to have to give an account for everything that you did in your lifetime, including what you did to God's chosen children, which is the real Jews, the real Hebrew Israelite, which is the Negroes, not the Africans. I'm going to keep stressing that. Not the Africans, the Negroes. We are not African American brothers and sisters. We are not Africans Americans. We are not Africans. We are Israel. When you go fill out that application and they ask you what are you? Put down other and put Israel, because that's who we are. We are Israel. We're not black. We're not African American. We are Israel. That's who we are. Brothers and sisters, it's time to wake up, because believe it or not, this thing is at our back door. All the signs are there. All the signs are there. This thing is at our back door. And you, God forbid, you don't want to die and end up on the wrong side of the kingdom. You don't want to die and end up on the wrong side. So it will behoove you to come back to God. These pastors out there, these Israelite pastors, the seed of Abraham, who is worshiping on Sunday, change your worship day. You're worshiping on the devil's day. It has nothing to do with the Most High. Sunday is the devil that the day that the Catholic priests ordained by Constantine the Great. Constantine is the one that brought it into existence, and the Archdiocese, who is the Catholic, they are the one that instituted it. That's why in the Catholic record it tells you they are the one that instituted Sunday. Even though that you think brothers and sisters, that you're being nice to people or whatever. God has nothing to do with that. He wants us to obey him, including keeping his day that he tells you to keep. He did not sanctify or bless the first day of the week, which is Sunday. He did not bless it. If you read this Bible, it tells you the only day that God blessed was the Sabbath day. So you go into church on a day that he did not bless. He did not sanctify. He did not hallow. Only one day the Most High blessed, and that was his Sabbath day. Saturday, the seventh day. That's the only day. And then some of our ignorant people who is out there is saying, oh, how do you know Saturday is the seventh day? They are only doing this because they don't want to do the right thing. So they bring up all kind of excuse to not do the right thing. Oh, how do you know Saturday is the seventh day? Why do you go to church on Sunday? Why do you choose that day to go? How do you know that Sunday is what you call the seventh day? Anywhere you go in the world, Sunday is the first day of the week. When this world started, it started day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7. The only thing that man did, they cannot change God's days. How can you change God's days? You can't. God is the one that put his days there. The first day he did what he did, the light and darkness. He put the sun in the sky, the moon in the sky, the stars. Then he created the animals, the grass. You cannot change the order of the days. You can't do that. The only thing that man did was give the days a name. Just like when you go to the hospital, when you are born, you're just a child. You are nobody. You're just a child. You are void until your parents give you a name. Now, that is something to identify you. So instead of they calling you child or baby, they call you by Aaron, Miriam, Moses. They call you by a name. So it's the same thing. Day 1, what they did, they called it Sunday. They did not change the day because they can't change the day. The only thing that man did was give the days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a name. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's the only thing they did. They put a name to the number. So now, instead of we saying the first day, we say Sunday. That's the only thing they did. They gave the day a name to identify it. But we out there trying to find excuses for what we're doing. So the excuse that we come up with, and it's an ignorant excuse. It is ignorance. How do you know the first day is the Saturday is the seventh day? That's ignorance, brothers and sisters. That is pure ignorance. Then Easter, not the Easter, Halloween. These churches who are saying that they're worshiping God. Oh my jeez. These churches who say that they worship God. You go in the churchyard and you see pumpkin, Halloween things that they decorate in the church for Halloween. Oh my jeez. How can you be anything of God and you doing these things? How can you be worshiping God, but yet you celebrating Halloween? Easter, that has to do with egg, the fertility god. If you are of God, how are you worshiping or doing these things? How are you celebrating these things? And the Bible warns against these things. And you say that you are of God, your church is of God. Brothers and sisters, why are we fooling ourselves? Who are we fooling? Who are we fooling? The Bible tells you that these churches are using us as merchandise. We are merely just a paycheck in these people's eyes. We are just a paycheck in their eyes. When they look at us, they see money. Cha-ching, that's what they see. When they look at us, they see money. Cha-ching. And when we look at them, we see God. And these people, yes, they're God. What God? The devil. They're the children of the devil. That's why Jesus referred to tell the Pharisees, you are of your father, the devil, because you do the works of your father. So that's how you can tell who is the children of the Most High God and who is the children of the devil. Just look at what they do. Look at what they do. They're worshiping on the wrong day. They don't keep God's commandment because they say that is gone. They say God's commandment is done away with because he fulfilled it at the cross. But they're going to turn around and call you a sinner. Hello? How can you call somebody a sinner if you say that the law is no more? How can you say that God got rid of the law because he fulfilled it at the cross, but then you're going to turn around and call somebody a sinner? What is sin? The Bible tells you sin is the breaking of the laws. That is sin. So if you say that the laws is no more because God fulfilled it, that means I can sleep with your wife. I can kill you. I can steal from you. I can lie on you. So you see, brothers, the ignorance that we are holding on to, pure ignorance. Why? Because we don't want to worship and serve the God of the Bible. So that's why we're holding on to this ignorance to have an excuse. But guess what? That excuse that we're holding on to is only for man. It has no place with God. No place. That excuse that we're holding on to, it only works with man. Because when we stand before God, that excuse can't work. It cannot work. The Bible tells you, God said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because they reject knowledge, I'm going to also reject them. So we that out there that don't want to hear the truth, that is rejecting knowledge. And what's the end part? The end part of that, we will be rejected also. Because we reject knowledge, we also will be rejected by the Most High. Because knowledge comes from the Most High. So if we reject knowledge, we are actually rejecting the Most High. So God said, if you reject me amongst man, I'm going to reject you amongst my Father. If you deny me amongst man, I'm going to deny you in the presence of my Father. So when you reject knowledge of this Bible, of the truth, you are rejecting God. You're not rejecting me. You're not rejecting the Bible. You're rejecting God. Because this book, that is his knowledge. That's what he gave us. So you reject that, you reject him. And if you reject him, he's going to reject you. We are not Africans, brothers and sisters. It's time that we know who we are. If we don't know who we are, then we don't know what our purpose is. If we don't know where we came from, then we don't know where we are going. If we don't know who we are, how can we know what our purpose is? We are the Israelites. We are the one chosen to preach this gospel and bring the rest of the world to our God. Because the rest of the world don't worship God. They worship wood and stone. They don't worship God. They have all kind of religion out there. All kind. Everybody and their grandmama want to be a preacher. This book tells you that women are not supposed to preach. But look out there. Look how many women are on the pulpit. Look how many women are on the pulpit. And the same book that they're reading tell them that they're not supposed to be up there. So who are they worshiping? Who are they worshiping? They cannot be worshiping the God of the Bible. They are worshiping their father, and the father is the devil. It's simple, brothers and sisters. You can take it how you want it. The truth is the truth. As long as we are in darkness and don't have the truth, there's no life in us. There's no freedom in us. Because only the truth can set you free. As long as we are lacking of the truth, we are not free. You notice when you do something and you keep it in, it weighs you down. It feels like a building is on top of you. And as soon as you tell somebody or somebody enlighten you, as soon as you get it out, you notice that how light you feel? Well, that's the same with the truth. When you get the truth, it's like everything around you doesn't matter. The things of this world don't matter anymore because now you are in a different realm, a different atmosphere, a different spirituality. We need to wake up, brothers and sisters. Our brothers over there calling up themselves Africans and we from Ethiopia. You are not Ethiopian. And no matter who you think you are, think you're Ethiopian. When God come back, He's going to gather your black behind, your colored behind, from wherever nation you've placed yourself. He's going to gather you still. He's still going to gather you. So you think that you're Ethiopian or you're somebody else other than who you are. You're Muslim. He's going to take you out of these places. Your black behind is not going to stay there. Because when He gather Israel, He's going to gather all of Israel, no matter where you at. So your Negro behind, no matter where you think you are, Ethiopian or Muslim, you're not going to stay amongst these nations because you are not them. We always want to be somebody else. We always want to be somebody else. Look at how our brothers, children, look how they wear their pants. They're in the street and the pants is down almost halfway between the buttocks and the knees. Who are you representing? Who are you representing? You cannot be representing the God of this Bible. You cannot be representing your God. You got to be representing, well, there, yeah, I'm wrong. You're representing your God. Because your God is the devil. Because the devil is the one that have us doing these things. These spirits, evil spirit that is behind us, have us doing these things. That spirit is not of God. That spirit is of the devil. That spirit is of the devil. So that's why we do the things of the devil. Because like Jesus said, we are of our father the devil because we do the things of our father. If we was walking and know the Most High, we wouldn't be dressed like that in the street. Our women would have clothes so tight that you can see everything that the God blessed them with. The breast that God gave them to nourish the child, they wouldn't be displaying it out in the public. They would not be doing that. But if you do the works of your Father, the things that we do, we have to figure out, who are we reverencing? Are we reverencing God or are we reverencing the devil? Are we giving praise to God or are we giving praise to the devil? All we have to do, brothers and sisters, is sit back, think, look at ourselves, looking in ourselves, and see what we are doing. And see, are we reverencing God or if we are reverencing the devil? Brothers and sisters, I thank you for your time. And again, we are not Africans. The Africans are a different nation of people. We were in Egypt, in bondage. Moses, our father, one of our fathers, came and delivered us. The Egyptian, they are African nation. We were in bondage under the African. We are not them. That's why we were in slavery under them or by them, because we are not them. We're a different nation of people. But we are supposed to still love Everyone. We are not supposed to hate. Hatred has no place with God. God can hate. You can't hate. I can't hate. That is God's job. He can hate, but we are not supposed to hate. He can kill, but we are not supposed to. That is his job. He said, vengeance is his. Vengeance is not ours. Another thing, when our kids get killed by them white bigot police out there, we, as the Israelites, the Jews, we gone out there marching, picketing, protesting. Black life matters. Black life matters. Brothers and sisters, we can march until our shoes bottom drop off. That is not going to work. It is not going to work. It's not going to work. That's the wrong approach. What we have to do as a nation is come back to our God. Stop worshiping these heathens, God. Stop hanging out on the street corners, killing your own brothers and sisters, selling drugs. Stop shooting down your own brothers and sisters. The wages of sin, brothers and sisters, is death. The wages of sin is death. So when we sin, somebody have to die. It have to happen. When we sin against the Most High, someone has to pay for it. The Bible tells you the soul that sinneth, it shall die. And God's word has to come to pass. The wages of sin, or the payment of sin, is death. So that goes for everyone. These white racist bigot police out there that killing us. Remember, the wages of sin is death. So you think that you're not dropping dead right now as soon as you do something wrong. But remember, the Bible said, let the tares grow with the wheat, and at harvest they will be separated. So when judgment day come, you will have to give, we will have to give an account for all of it. That's why you say it's going to rain on the wicked man housetop, and it's going to rain on the righteous man housetop. When the rain fall, it don't fall on one man housetop. The murderer, the molester, wherever he is, that is against God, is going to rain on your housetop, and the righteous man is going to rain on his housetop too. But guess what? That is of this world, the things of this world. He said, don't put up your treasures in things of this world. Put up your treasures in heaven. Because in this world, moth and things can eat it out. But when you put up your treasures, that means being righteous and doing what God says. That is counted for worthiness. That is counted for you, not against you. But when you're killing the children, killing people, unarmed people, you police I'm talking to, when you're killing unarmed people out there in the street, just know and believe. And some of them, they go to church every Sunday morning. Some of these same police who is killing people go there and kill somebody's child and has no regards, no remorse. They go in church and sit down on Sunday morning and worshiping. Who are you worshiping? You're worshiping the devil. You're not worshiping God. Because number one, God is not in that church Sunday morning. He is not there. If you read the Bible, you will understand that he is not in no church on Sunday morning. Because that is not his day. That is not the day that he blessed. That is not the day that he set apart, sanctified. And that is not the day that he hallowed for you to go and worship him. He gave you his day. So that's the day he's going to be there to hear your cries. Not the day that man set up, the day that he set up. Because his day has meaning. The day that man set up, it has meaning too. And their meaning is to destroy you. That's their meaning. Their meaning of the day that they set up, Sunday morning, is to destroy you. God's meaning of his day that he set up is to give you eternal life. It's a big difference. God's day is to give you eternal life. And the devil's day, which is Sunday morning, worshiping the sun, is to give you eternal damnation. That is the difference. What is the difference between all the days? Because some people say, oh, you can worship any day, or any day can be the Sabbath. How can any day be the Sabbath day? It's only one first day. It's only one second day, one third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, seventh day. It's only one. So how can it be any day? The only day is the Sabbath day, is the seventh day. So how can the Sabbath day be any day? Come on, brothers and sisters. How can the Sabbath day be any day? It's only one Sabbath day. Why didn't he bless the other days? There's nowhere in the Bible you see God say he blessed the first day, second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth day. No place in the Bible. But it's in the Bible that he blessed the seventh day. And he sanctified it, means set apart. And he hallowed it. Why? Because the rest of the days you can do what you want. According to the scriptures. You can wash your car, go to the store, the grocery store, go to the park, go to the football game. You can do these things. But on the seventh day, the one that he blessed, the one that he hallowed, and the one that he sanctified, that day you can't do these things. He don't want you to do these things on that day. That's the difference between those 6 days and that one day that he set aside. That's the difference. It's a big difference, brothers and sisters. So you cannot classify God's separate day or sanctified day with the rest of the days, because the rest of the days is basically filthy. Because what we do might not necessarily be lined up with God. That day is sacred to him. That's why he said the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. That means the Sabbath was already instituted before man even came into existence. It was made for man. Man was not made for it. The Sabbath was already here and already instituted by God before man came into existence. The blueprint was already written. The blueprint was already drawn. The blueprint was already laid out before God started. It was already laid out. God called the end from the beginning. He called the end from the beginning. The blueprint was already there. Anything that you're going to build, a structure, what they call for? A blueprint. When you buy a car, what is in the glove box? A blueprint, which is the manual. The Bible is our blueprint. And it has to be done in God's mind and in God's word before he gave it to us. It was done in his word before he gave it to us. The blueprint was already there. So we cannot come and dealing with the commandments of man, giving God our Sabbath and telling him, take that. That's the one I give you. I give you Sunday. You take that one. I'm not dealing with Saturday. We cannot give God what we want, man. We have to do what he said. If we're going to worship him, how are we going to worship him the way we want? We got to worship him the way that he said to worship him. Come back to God, brothers and sisters. Come back to the Most High God. We, again, are not Africans. We need to stop going around calling ourselves Africans and we going to go back. Africa is the land of milk and honey. No, Jerusalem is the land of milk and honey. The scripture says it. Jerusalem is the land of milk and honey. Not Ethiopia, not these other countries. Jerusalem. That's the land flowing with milk and honey. You know why? Because that's where God's kingdom is going to be set up. That's the holy city. That's what the mountain of God is. That is the land flowing with milk and honey. And Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of the Most High God, he is the Lion of the tribe of Judah, because that's where he came from. He came out of the tribe of Judah. He is the Lion of the tribe of Judah, not this man in Ethiopia, Haile Selassie. Because God has nothing to do with Ethiopia. The Messiah has nothing to do with Ethiopia. The Messiah rules in Jerusalem. That's where his mountain is. And everybody around it, Ethiopia, they're going to have to come up to Jerusalem to worship the Most High God. All of them going to have to come up to Jerusalem to worship the Most High God. We are not going to Ethiopia. Haile Selassie was an emperor in Ethiopia. That has nothing to do with the Most High in Jerusalem. That has nothing to do with us, the Israelites. It has nothing to do with us, the Israelites, or the real Jews. Revelation 2 verse 9 tells you, the one that call themselves the Jew, they are not the Jews, but they are the synagogue of Satan. What? They are not the Jews? So if they are not the Jews, who are the Jews? Revelation 3 and 9 tell you, the one that are calling themselves the Jews, they are lying. They are the synagogue of Satan. What? So if they are not the Jews, they are lying, then who are the Jews? Will the real Jews please stand up? Will the real Jews please stand up? Brothers and sisters, we the Negroes, we're the one that are going through all these atrocities. We're the one that got hung by trees, hanging trees by our necks. We're the one that been in and out of slavery. We are the Jews of that Bible. And the reason why we are going through the atrocity that we are going through is because we are the Jews of the Bible. And God already called it on us that we are going to pay for everything that we do. He said we are going to punish us 7 times more for our sins. 7 times more. How can you prove that? You and a white person go and do a crime, the same crime. What happened to you, Israelite? You get 20 years thrown at you. And what happened to that white person that did the same crime that you did? They get a slap on the wrist. Go and don't do it no more. If you come before me again, I'm going to punish you. When the bigot police, the racist police, white police do a crime, what happens to them? They get sent home with pay pending investigation. So they go on a vacation for killing you with pay. If a black police kill somebody in the street, what happened to him? He's most likely to get fired from his job. He's most likely to get fired from his job. Because you know why? Because he is one of us. And no matter where you hide yourself, you are still one of us. You are still under the curse. You are still Israel. No matter where you hide yourself. So you cannot hide yourself between the white people and think that you're going to get away. It don't work like that. That is not how it works. Israel is Israel no matter where you at. You cannot hide between anyone or any nation and God don't see you. You cannot hide under any rocks and God don't see you because he owns the rocks. It's his. You're going to turn over that rock and say, you, come on, let's go. Because he owns the rocks, he owns the mountains. So the black police that killed somebody out in public, they end up losing the job. The white police, the white bigot police that kill somebody, they go home. 2-3 weeks home, pending investigation with pay. So what they do, they go to Disney World on behalf of the dead people. They go to Disney World, and we are the one. The same boy that he killed, their parents is giving him a paycheck. The same boy or the same children that the police killed, them parents is feeding him. Their tax money is feeding him. They are paying for him to go on vacation, go to Disney, and their child is lying 6 foot under the ground. You see? The Bible declares it. We are the chosen. That's why we don't get away with nothing. Because you know why? We are the one put here to set an example to the world. But instead of we come and set an example to the world and bring them to the Most High God as He ordered us, we go and assimilate ourselves among these people and doing what they are doing and worshiping their God. And we throw our God aside. The Bible tells you, has a nation given up their God? No. These other people, they're worshiping the devil and they don't give up their God. They acknowledge our God, but they still don't give up their God. But we, the ones that had the only true and living God, we gave up our God to go hold on to their God. We gave up our God to worship their God. How is that? You just throw away something, you throw away platinum. You throw platinum in the garbage to pick up brass. You throw away platinum to go and pick up brass. That's what we did. We gave away our God, and now we're worshiping their God, wood and stone. Wake up, brothers and sisters. I hope this edifies someone, anyone, but please, brothers and sisters, wake up. It's time to make a U-turn. It's time to come back to God. Leave the world out there. Because He said you must be in the world, but you're not supposed to be of the world. These things that these white people and these other nations, they give us, they put here for our entertainment, that is for our damnation. These things that they give us for our entertainment is for our damnation, is to damn us. And they see it. That's why they do it. Because they're seeing it. They know what they're doing. These people are engineered. These people know what they're doing. We are the one that is blind. We are the one that is walking around sleeping with our eyes wide open. We don't know if we're coming or going. We think we know, but we don't know nothing. We think we know what's going on, but we have no clue of what is going on in the world. Thank you for your time.